if you start in the same place, if you're starting similarly, like I'll give you
Mm-hmm.
some of the girls that I know that do stuff
I
like
see
this,
where
or
you're
it's
going.
challenging,
Yeah.
is where maybe this person, and to be honest, let's even use Nigeria because it's a similar culture, right?
Yes.
You know, you grew up in Canada, you went to school here, you're in your like late 20s, early 30s, you've worked a couple of jobs, you're in a career where maybe you're like mid management now, you're making like 90K, 100K, let's even say that.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Mm-hmm.
you meet this guy who maybe has moved here from Nigeria. He's lovely, but his feet haven't really touched the ground yet,
Yes.
right? And so he's really and he's not working on it. But
Yeah.
you know that if you were to partner at this time,
Mm-hmm.
you would be essentially supporting him. If let's just say
Because
like,
okay. Okay.
right?
That's
Um,
actually a very good example because it is a real thing happening. But keep
no,
going.
you're thinking about, okay, like if we start now, I may be the one
Mm-hmm.
paying the bills. Like he may not even let's even say like he's been here only 2 or 3 years. He may not have enough
Okay.
credit to put to buy a house, for example.
Okay.
So the house that you people buy, maybe it should be your credits that will sustain it, for example.
Okay.
So
Okay.
people are having these things in their heads, are thinking, okay, I'm looking at this man, I know he has potential,
Mm-hmm.
but I might have to carry the bulk of the weight at the start.
Okay.
What if that never stops?
So it's a very valid concern, especially because for the women, it feels like you have passed your struggle stage and
Mm,
you don't want to go back to that
yeah.
in a sense. And we women, I don't know what it is, maybe because of our networking skills, or I feel like a lot of women are like doing well for
They are.
themselves. A lot of women are doing well. And in this example you've given, somebody coming from the new country, from Nigeria, for
Mm-hmm.
example, is going to need more time to get established. The
Agreed.
first few jobs might not be as great. So I think in that case, I would be evaluating, if it was somebody I know and love I was talking to, I would be evaluating what are they doing now? So for example, did he have a degree in Nigeria that he's coming to like do a
Mm,
master's? Is he currently struggling with like, immigration back and forth? Okay. But
yeah.
like, is he working? Does he have a job? I would not necessarily marry him right now with his like his there's a bit of an instability with immigration, with not having a steady job, but we could date if the other things check out, if he has a great character,
Yeah.
he has like we share the same core values. Like I feel like serving in church and being known by the community is a good value
It
because
is. It is.
although you can always fake in church still, but I still think it helps to show your level of commitment to something that you don't have to be doing and something that's bigger than you. If he has things that check out for him, I would still give him a shot. And then I also think there's a lot of um I don't know what the principle is, but I'm sure there is one. Like there's more momentum, which is kind of what I said earlier, with when you're
Mm,
partnering with somebody to help you. Like maybe the parts that he struggles with, like how many years does it take to do any of these top up courses that they do? He'll be done soon. Like
mm,
he will graduate, he will find a job. After a while, he will get a better job. It's a privilege that one of you has a good
start up.
credits
Yeah.
and a good setup. Because when you come together, it's going to be both of you merging resources. And
Mm,
in the beginning stages, how much space do you need to sleep? How much food do you need to eat? The only problem is, as soon as you get married, there's always a chance of creating more people. And then if you now go on mat leave, his job needs to be able to sustain the family. Very valid points. But in this Canada, if somebody's hardworking,
mm,
on the lower you make, the more the government will even support you. I'm not saying to aim low. I'm just saying that you will not be stranded. But
mm,
and the suffering will not be long if you're truly partnering and getting better. So in this day and age, people are not struggling as much to find jobs. I think
true.
people are finding jobs to be much better, much quicker than say 7 years ago, when 7 to 10 years ago when we graduated from school, it was such a struggle. These days, people are finding jobs easier. I just don't think it's that bad. I think that if you find somebody, that was a very long way to say it, but if you find somebody in this day and age who has a good character, a good head on his head, who has like a good degree, a good set of skills which they can work,
Yeah.
who is working right now and has like some sort of income coming in, who is who has bigger goals than where he is right now and is working towards them. Whether that means after he finishes this certificate he's doing, he'll like get a proper job in physiotherapy that he studied, and that's his doctor money that's about to come in, or is like IT and maybe he's no longer wants to practice there. He wants to go to project management and he's going to take the courses and he's doing the work. He's studying hard. He's taking the exams, all that good stuff. I think that's enough to work with. But what you're saying is not as shiny as somebody who has been here for 10 years and has a lovely Audi that they drive and a nice apartment.
I think
like it's not as nice.
Shiny is like it's easier to see the return on investment.
What investment?
You know, like when you partner with somebody, for example, you are emotionally connected, physically, you are building all these things together. You know, you are sharing your stories, you are sharing your dreams. I feel like a lot of the times, I can speak for myself personally. I think we grew up with parents or communities where, like, men and women build together, and then we enjoy the fruit of our labor when it's built
together. Yes.
But I feel like right now we're in a place where everybody's building individually. And so I don't necessarily have to really like partner with someone to make a dream or a vision come true.
Because you can do it by yourself.
I can do it by myself. Now, is there benefit in doing it together? Absolutely.
Do you want to do it by yourself?
Some people do.
Because if you do, then you don't need to be having this conversation.
I mean, they want to do it and they want to build, but also have a relationship. You get it's like what I'm building is for me.
I disagree with you on that one, but keep going. Let me let you finish so that I can know what I'm responding to.
Like you both have careers, and I'm building this career for myself. I have this goal of what I want to be. Of course, I want to be in partnership. Just because I want to build doesn't mean I want to be alone. But it isn't necessarily a core requirement of my partner to be able to build with me or for me. Right?
Okay. So what's the core requirement for them?
You know, like it's kind of a separation of church and state, right? My career and my dreams are a bit separate from. While you support me and you're there, all those kinds of things. I think growing up, women, or I can talk from what I saw, like women needed to support their husbands in terms of making sure the house was good, he was coming home to, you know what I mean? Like there's a synergy there. But now I find that isn't necessarily as needed anymore, or like I think secularly. Not as
This reminds me of a conversation we had in church last week, not this Sunday, but my church had the church unusual thing, and it's different kind of service. And one of the panelists just kept talking about modern women, and it was first like triggering, like which one is modern women? But what you're saying is exactly it's facts. Like the economics have changed. Each person can survive by themselves right now. Yes, before it was that you needed more of that synergy as you had to have it for things to work. And now what you're saying is that you don't have to have that for things to work. But I believe that marriages still require synergy to work. Agreed. Although each couple still gets to define the specifics of how their marriage would work. And like if they want more of a partnership or more of like a traditional marriage of one person rearing kids, one person providing. But ultimately all marriages need to operate, I think especially biblical and like people that are modeling their lives in as like after God's standard for marriage need to think about themselves as like truly becoming one and like bringing their goals to the table and saying, how can you help me achieve these goals? At this point in time, does one person's goals need to step down? And like, so you're never truly pursuing two separate lives and just like working together per se. I think you come together.
I think these people would agree that they like their goals are together. Like everybody has to agree. Like two cannot work together unless they agree, right?
Okay.
So, but I think it's more of just the fact that like, if I'm choosing you and you're not quite there yet, that should not slow me down. Does that make sense?
But how would it slow you down? Like, so let's make it practical. So this example of the woman making 90K, mid-level manager or something, and a guy who is fresh from Nigeria, 2 years, he should not still be in school. Maybe I don't know what he's doing.
Maybe like an entry. Let's even say he did IT, like an entry-level job in IT.
Entry-level job, and earning how much?
Maybe let's I know like people like to elevate like IT numbers. Let's just do 60K Let's
So
see.
60K and 90K, you don't think they can work that out?
They can, but people are thinking like, okay, they want to buy.
Okay.
I'm
I
just
love
giving
the
an
specifics of the
example.
exact. Don't worry, I'm not attacking you, but it's a
Oh
good. I like
no,
that. I like that we've added like extra details
yeah.
to it. That's like so. The issue is then that is the issue that she's making more money than him because what you're now doing is you're going from making 90K to making 150K if that's 90 plus
But you're not.
60.
But people don't really see it like. Those people that are
Okay,
quick.
but why?
I think it takes me back to that like looking at somebody's LinkedIn and trying to decide whether they're going to make six figures or not. Because you're just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if he came to me and was like, oh, hi, I work at Deloitte, I'm a HR manager, your mind is thinking, okay, good, 3 vacations a year, our house rent is going to be
Mm-hmm.
paid. You can visualize that person's trajectory. And I think that's part of the challenge here is that, like, women, or just
Okay.
people in general, let me not speak for women in general because I can't do that, but it can be challenging, I think, for Christian people especially, because we're taught to
Mm-hmm.
walk a lot by faith and not by sight, to
Mm-hmm.
really figure out, okay, where is this person going? And can I follow along? And if we get
Okay.
to a place where I'm like, if I get to a place where I feel like this is not the life I'm supposed to be living, what happens then? Like, if I've chosen you based on this thing of faith, we are going somewhere, he has a plan, it's actionable, we may never get there.
Mm-hmm.
Am I okay with that?
Okay, so I hear you very much
Mm-hmm.
on like this discrepancies, but in the picture we've painted,
Yeah,
there's no issues in my own world. There's nothing I'm seeing. There's somebody's making 60K
yeah,
and surviving by themselves, not just surviving, they have a life, they are managing their credit card,
yeah.
they have a place that they're paying regularly for.
Mm-hmm.
They are not begging anybody for money
Mm-hmm.
for rent or anything like that.
They
When
treat
is
you
your
nicely.
birthday?
They can buy you gifts.
They buy. I was about to say, when is your birthday? They buy you a
Yeah,
gift. It might not be a new car, but it can
depends on
be.
you. Yeah,
It
yeah.
can be. I don't know whatever what else people buy for gifts. It can be a nice bag. Like they can
True.
save up for it. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand what the issue is here. Like because when you merge lives, you are merging capacities as well in an ideal
Mm-hmm.
world because you're bringing more together. You're going from earning 90K, ma'am, to earning 150K together if you
Mm-hmm.
truly want to bring that together. So the issue is that you're not starting from the same level. If
Mm-hmm.
somebody's already working as an IT manager, does he want more? Because those are the conversations you
Mm-hmm.
should be having in this
Yeah,
dating season
yeah,
because you're in information gathering season. So
yeah.
what does he want next? And like express that you are working or you're enjoying it, but you still want to be treated nice. And like
Mm-hmm.
your dream for him is for him to even be, I don't know what the dream is. She wants to continue working. So him to keep making even more. And like
Mm-hmm.
is that something he wants? Because you were talking with me a while ago before this conversation about, the desire for less. Like
Mm-hmm.
if he wants less, then maybe that
Then
can
what?
be a
Yeah.
flag, that's a red flag that I don't know if I really want that because I want
Mm-hmm.
someone that wants more. But I don't see any issues with that 90 and 60K. I feel like there's so much that is workable there because it won't stay like that. And if it stays like that, what's the worst part?
But I think that's a question.
That
That's the question I think people need to answer. Is that if it stays like that, are
yeah.
you going to be okay? Do you get? Like, because I think people
Why
sometimes
would you
are
not be
scared to answer
okay?
that question. Eh?
Why would you not be okay if it stays like that?
My sister, people are want also we're on the internet. Soft life has entered the blood. You know what I mean? I think people
Yeah.
are are seeing lives and experiences that maybe before we didn't really have access to. And so if
Yeah.
you're telling someone that like, oh, 90 and 60 should be okay, but online they are seeing 0 and 300, and 300 is spending, and like it's gonna be hard to convince that person that they should not aim for 300 instead of
I think we
60.
should also be honest with ourselves that you're only seeing parts of people's lives. How about 90
Absolutely.
and 60K where you
Yeah.
come home to dinner made regularly? How about 90 and 60K where when his parents and family members try to do nonsense, he
Mm,
stands up for you and like don't mess with my wife? How about 90 and 60K where
mm,
you don't got to worry about nothing if things break because you know that this person has got
true.
it. How about 90 and 60K where somebody is giving you peace, no problem. You yell and acts crazy, he says, "Ma'am,
Mm,
calm down. We're in this together." How about 90 and 60K where God is leading both of you, God is helping both of you, giving you ideas for
mm,
innovative things to invest in, where one day he puts 1,000 in his stock and next morning it skyrockets, and all of a sudden it's
yeah,
no longer 90 and
yeah,
60K. How about 90 and 60K where you apply for mortgage in an era where the interest rate is so low, and all of a sudden your dream house
yeah,
is actually
yeah,
possible? How about in a year you sell that house and next thing you know you're able to buy even more because you've built credit over that time?
yeah.
This is my life, as like it is my experience. I can tell you, I
Mhm.
wish I could be as detailed as I want to be, but like this,
Yeah.
there's just there's just possibilities that are endless. I don't, yeah, if I were to be
But this is
honest
where
with
the girls
people,
are, I think, is that what you're describing is also possible with like 0 and 300, 0 and
it
250,
is.
0
So
and
but she said she
400.
wants to, yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like you can have an amazing quality of life for somebody who only makes like that you accept anyway that you want. At if he's only making 40K, you can live that life. If that's the life that you
and you could also be reversed. It could be 0 and 400, and all these things will still be happening. Like he's treating you well, and for some reason you just
yeah.
have no peace. So like you also have to just remember I think this is where we started the conversation from. What
Hmm.
do you want for your life,
Yeah.
and like what is really important to help you get there.
Yeah.
What the girls are doing on Instagram is that's their business. Like, are you happy with your life? Define what you want for your
Yeah.
life and
Yeah.
get like square minded on it. Like
I think you
that's
define what settling is. I
yes, I like
honestly feel
that.
like that is the end because like you cannot use somebody
Yes, speak.
else's definitional bar to define like what I consider settling could be somebody's icing on the cake.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I
yeah,
think everybody should mind where our settling gauges are. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
maybe do some if dating and I can talk to someone who's dating right now, or I should say that let me
Ooh.
know close any channels. Dating and still taking application. Still taking application. But
Why is that? Would you feel some type of way if he was doing the same as well?
I mean, yeah, as long as there's no like we're not exclusive. So I mean
Okay, keep going.
you know what I like I think it is what it is and that like I think we do a lot of comparison when it comes to settling. Like there's this
But we should,
fallacy
yeah, but we should not be doing set.
we
We should not be
shouldn't.
comparing our lives,
Yeah.
but we
The
do.
fallacy
Yes,
that something better will show up while you're trying to
yes,
decide is going to keep you from really good things.
yeah,
You
yeah,
deal with what's in the present, what is here right now, and you make a decision about the quality of your life.
yeah.
Because even if you were to know in the future, you still can't predict every single step that's going to get you there eventually. So stick with the vision that God has given you for your life. And I feel like the rest of it should fall into
And
place.
yeah, and honestly, evaluate your criteria. Talk to
Mm-hmm.
people that know you, that love God, and whose
Mm-hmm.
lives are you like who are living godly lives and can help you shape. Like, okay, are you being real with this your criteria?
Yeah.
Does it make sense? Because sometimes you think something is all that important and it really isn't. And I just feel like let's not waste time. Like, let's not waste good people,
Mm-hmm.
good opportunities. That's what it is. Let's not waste good opportunities because we're being superficial. Like, I want for everybody that wants to be
Mm-hmm.
married to meet great people and build good lives together. I don't want it to be that I feel very passionate about this, even though I have my own marriage and I can just go and face my own business, but that's kind of why I'm here. I just feel like I want everybody that wants a marriage to understand that, define the criteria for what a good marriage is, and make sure that the criteria isn't to choose is actually help feeding into that, not like superficial stuff that won't matter in the long run. That's essentially what I think. So
Yeah. And also
evaluate your
like we're not
criteria.
negating chemistry. We're not negating stuff like that.
No,
Like
we're not.
we're just saying like because I think even me sometimes I struggle with that in terms of how how do I know that this is like an important thing for me going forward? Because even when you were
Yeah.
saying like, oh, like, am I single? Am I dating? Like, I feel like it's one of those things where you over time as you meet people develop a better
Mm-hmm.
understanding of what's actually important. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like people say, oh, I want a man that is authoritative, but what do you mean by that? You
Yeah.
know, before I used to be like, oh, I want a man that if he says stand up, I will stand up. But I was
Why?
like, no, because in my head, I felt like I wanted somebody who was sure. That's what I was looking for. Somebody whose word I could trust.
Mm.
But what I was
Oh,
seeing,
somebody who was like confident in his
you know
own
what I
like
mean? Like I
self and who was
trusted, you
assertive, maybe.
know what I mean?
Okay.
That's what I
Yeah.
was looking
Okay.
for. But authoritative was the only word that I had at the time.
Got it.
So when I'm
Got it.
screening, yeah, go ahead.
Hmm. No, go on.
I was saying that when I
Finish.
was using the word authoritative to screen, it wasn't panning out
Yeah.
the way I
Huh.
wanted it to. And so when I found the
Huh.
word assertive, I was like, oh, that's a
Better word.
better description of what I'm looking for. Because when people would do
Mm-hmm.
like when men try to do that whole like authoritative, you can't. I said,
Yeah.
bro, don't talk to me like that. You know what I mean?
That's not what I want. Yeah.
But
Totally
when
get it. Well,
somebody's
this.
saying like, I wanna see you, I've made plans, da 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 da, I'm like,
I
oh,
like that. Yeah.
that's what I'm looking for.
Intentional,
Yeah,
assertive, has a mind of his own.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I get what you mean. So
So
finding the
yeah,
right words to describe what you mean, or not even just the right words, like thinking through why you want what you want, which is something
exactly. Yeah.
I think about it properly so that you don't screen for the wrong things. Okay, I want to wrap on like this thought that we shared previously about how
Mm,
sometimes we say, what happens if you don't get married,
mm,
and like what do you do if you don't get married, and your answer kind of like blew my mind, not blew my mind, but just helped me realize, yeah, this makes total sense. Just talk about it real
yeah.
quick.
So like I've said before that I find that question a bit funny because I'm already living that answer. Like the question is like, oh, like what if it was your plan B about not getting married? I said I'm already living. I'm not married, so I'm currently living that life. Like there is no plan
Yeah.
B. That is my current life, my current living situation. The government knows that I don't have a husband. Like I don't know what
Yeah.
else you want me to say. So like the question should more be like, are you living the life that you want to live while either
Right.
waiting or desiring or working on being married? Because like you only have one life. There is no plan B to not being married. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like I'm saying, okay, in if I don't get married by the end of my life, this is what I'm going to do. My life
Yeah.
continues without a
Yeah.
husband right now, and so
Yeah.
it's better for me to be honest about that and not because really, what would the plan be?
Yeah.
To still be single? To be divorced? Like what else? Like there's really no other option. I'm living that option right now, and so
Yeah.
I think
I think the question generally comes when people do things like wait to do the things they want to be doing in life until
hmm
they feel
yeah.
like they've to get married. Things like travel, buying
Mhm.
property, even that have kids one. I don't think you should
That's
wait till you get married though to
okay.
have kids. But then I understand that. I don't know if I understand. I'm going to go explore that one more. I don't know what I feel about it. But yeah, I think it comes from things like that. Just realizing that like on one hand you should be like believing the life you want to be living, but also trust God. Man, this is a very nuanced conversation, but I like that
Yeah,
we uncovered some layers to it at least.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Any word for the single people who are tired of the current dating environment?
I mean, one, I get it. Like dating burnt me out last year, second half of last year. Would not recommend. Um, but I know that it can be really difficult to wait. And I don't
Yeah.
even like the word waiting anymore because it feels like I'm stagnant or like trapped. Like I don't really like that word anymore. I'm living a life where I'm desiring partnership and I'm working on it. And
Mm.
so I understand that we do live in a world that can be really like it's Valentine's month this month. Everybody's saying, "Oh, sorry to the singles." I said, "Sorry for yourself." Like I can't, I cannot live in a world where like that becomes my like label for a while. Like it's not very
Yeah.
helpful. And it's not something to
Yeah.
be ashamed of either. Like I know that there is a place of partnership. Like that desire is there for a reason. And
Yeah.
sometimes the process of getting there just looks really different. So I
Yeah.
would say take breaks, um, expand your network. Like something that I feel like I've really been thinking about from Fopsy is really like I guess being more vocal about my desire to be married to other
Yeah.
people. Like being like, this is something that I'm looking for. If you know someone or feel like you know someone that would be a good partner for me, let me know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes it's uncomfortable to put yourself out there like that because we don't live in a society that's kind of matchmaky that way. Um,
We should though, because like, which kind of leads me into my other thing. Do you feel like marriage as a construct is overrated, and maybe that might be something I'm better suited to answer. I don't know, but like, does it
Overrated how?
like or overemphasized? Maybe like, is it? Are we too obsessed with marriage as a society?
I don't think marriage per se, but I think the idea of intimacy and being seen, because it isn't just marriage that people are after per se. Like people get married for all sorts of reasons. You know what I mean? But I
Mm-hmm.
think this idea of having a person, of being seen by that person, of having your needs met by that one person,
Mm-hmm.
um, it is something that we struggle with, and it is something that's actually like realistic.
Yeah,
So
intimacy is like a valid. I think it's a almost fundamental human need, and I think a
yeah,
lot of us will get it in committed relationships because as we get older, our
mm,
friends are also getting into relationships. So like, the less there's less people to be like that close with.
yeah,
But I think, like you were saying yesterday in New Spring's chat, it's not just marriage has more to it than friendship and like
mm,
and familiar relationships. It's a different kind of bond as
yeah.
well, and there's something to be desired from it.
So, but yeah, single people, it's
Yeah.
okay. Take breaks. It'll happen.
Yes.
All you need is one yes, the right yes. I've been encouraging
Yes.
myself with that.
It takes one person,
Just
just
one
one.
person,
When people
just
are
one.
saying, "Oh, there are no men, there are no good women," it just takes
It just
one.
takes
There
one.
has to be one
So,
great person for you. So, yes, that's a great note to end on. Thank you, Kome. This was like so fun. I love when I enjoy conversations by myself because I know that people will enjoy it as well. Thank you for
hopefully.
spending your evening with me.
Thank you for having me.
Do you have anything you want to plug? Any
Anything I want to
business
know?
or thing that you care about or you want to plug?
That's a good question. I think it's important that you, as you navigate dating and relationships, find places and spaces, both physically and digitally, like online, where you can be fed by the things that you need to hear, and also I think have a bit of critical thinking as well, where people are asking questions or sharing perspectives that maybe they don't align perfectly with yours, but give you an opportunity to explore why you think the way you think, and really, I guess, hone in on those values that are necessary for you to thrive in your relationships.
I think God intended you to say that, which is very interesting. While I was waiting for you, because I was ready earlier than I needed to be for this call, I was reading my book again, Situationship, because I'm going somewhere and I'm supposed to like refresh, like talk about my book as well.
Ooh.
And I opened the middle and landed on prioritize feeding your mind. And he goes,
Oh,
I'm serious. And he goes, just like our bodies are replenished by eating and exercising, our spirits and souls need to be refreshed. The internet makes it easy to find amazing people who have been gifted with wisdom about various subjects, including marriage. Find biblically sound people who you relate to and keep learning about principles for godly marriages and building godly families. Wisdom is not exclusive to Christians, and you can still learn a lot from people who do not share your faith. However, if you're Christian, consider that you will have to sift your learnings through the eyes of the Bible's teachings. I have some more specific recommendations in the other resources chapter of this book, but here are some suggestions for feeding your mind. So this is around page 54 in case you have my book Situationship, which you should go and buy by the way. Guys, go
I
buy
have
my
it.
book.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Oh yes, come here, the one. Okay. And then the resource that like the one I read because it was a longer portion of text was like be active in your local church or in a
Mm,
local church. Being a part of a local church is beneficial for you, even in ways you might not be able to quantify today. Being active in a church means you are known by name in your local church by a significant number of people, and that you actively serve in one area. As an individual and as a family, if you marry and have children, you increase your chances of finding like minded people to do life with. You get to be a part of something bigger than yourself by being active in a local church. It helps you to be more other focused and less self centered. Being in close company with other believers also means harnessing the strength of a community of faith during difficult seasons and being able to share in others' joys. And I was just like, okay, self, look at you being articulate. But, but really, I think you're meant to say that about like
mm,
prioritizing feeding your mind because we're not blank slates, we're always absorbing. So it's important that you surround yourself with people that are helping you think better and sharpen your focus, because if you're not
mm,
actively doing it, you're kind of passively doing it and you're just absorbing whatever lands and
yeah.
whatever sticks will stick. This was awesome, Kome. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Super duper
you.
appreciate it today. It was such an awesome conversation. And honestly, when we get bigger on the podcast, we'll fly you in and have like an in-person thing for you. So y'all, that was an incredible conversation we just had with Kome on all things about settling. And I love that she brought the realistic parts of things. Sometimes I'm like very specific in how I'm thinking. So I like to bring in the diversity of perspectives and real life examples of what's happening. So if you've enjoyed this episode, I'm sure you can think of somebody who would also enjoy it. So be sure to share it to your story, share it with a friend, put it in the group chat and let it be discussed. This was really awesome, and I'm looking forward to having more guests join me in conversations like this. If you have ideas for topics that need to be discussed, be sure to DM me at Fopsy the Great or Dear Fopsy. Fopsy the Great is my personal account and Dear Fopsy is the podcast account. Follow us everywhere. You're listening to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Pods, Google Podcasts, everywhere. And if you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. And if you didn't know that we record video as well, we have that set up on YouTube. So go watch, go join the conversation, add your own thoughts. And yeah, that's how we build this community. And one day we'll blow. I'll figure out how to give back to the community. Until then, I'm yours truly, Fopsy the Great, Papa and Kwacha, signing out.